Ukraine's military has transformed into a modern and competent fighting force over the past 2 years. The army is now one of the most trusted institutions in the country. Ukraine's army is now one of the biggest in Europe, with up to 250,000 active duty soldiers. More troops are undergoing NATO standard training to protect Ukraine's sovereignty for years to come. Ukraine's police force is another sector which has been visibly transformed since the 2014 Euromaidan protests. The new law enforcement officers are well-trained, young, and physically fit. They're a far cry from the old militia police officers notorious for taking bribes. Protecting and serving the public in some of Ukraine's major cities, the newly minted Western-style force was launched in 2014 and is the first of its kind in the ex-Soviet state's history. Ukraine's capital also has a special police security unit, which is usually employed by a governmental agency in order to provide additional protection. The police security unit in Kyiv is engaged in technical and physical security. The technical security includes the protection of apartments and office buildings. The physical security includes the protection of people and business, which includes banks and shopping centers. Police security units are very important because there are many robberies and armed attacks. So far in Kyiv, there are over 40 fast response teams which work around the clock. Officers in the police security unit undergo special psychological and physical training. In total, there are 8 programs that every officer needs to pass in order to become a part of the unit. All of the specialized exercises are aimed at recreating real-life scenarios. The key goal is to intensify the training experience in order to have a better understanding of the tactics used by criminals. Physical training is a very important part of our work, and we try to improve our physical skills at least 3 times a week. Our officers practice hand-to-hand combat techniques in a sports hall, and twice a week they head to a shooting range. When we recruit new officers, they undergo psychological as well as physical tests. Then their performance is reviewed by a commission and they're called in for an interview. After that, their psychological state, physical and professional abilities are examined, as well as their desire to work in police security. The police security unit is usually tasked with guarding valuable cargo, property, and in some cases providing security details to high-profile officials. Currently, there are more than 500 fast response teams on patrol 24 hours a day in all of Ukraine's major cities. Police security units usually monitor mass gatherings for official events, as well as those organized by the local government. All of the objects which have been placed under surveillance are connected to a central security system.
Інформаційний відділ Центру систем безпеки поліції і охорони займається прийомом заявок на охорону приватних будинків, квартир, об'єктів,
our services. This includes security of private houses, apartments, and other objects. In order for us to take an object under our protection, we process the application, then sign an agreement, and finally we set up an alarm system. So far, the police security unit has taken control of providing protection to a number of state objects. Ukraine's revamped police force is the result of what some call shock therapy approach to the law enforcement reform. The country's new police force is now better trained and well equipped to catch criminals. At the moment, the number of robberies and armed attacks has increased in Kyiv. This is why we're forced to expand in as many directions as possible. There are currently at least 49,000 apartments under our protection. We have a fast response record for distress calls. There have been 0 break-ins into apartments, which are closely monitored.
зникнення, де ми знаходимося, де наші квартири знаходяться, де ці квартири знаходяться під охороною поліції охорони.
Ви їдеш на визов і ти не знаєш, що там може бути.
When we respond to a call, I never know what's going to happen. Perhaps the alarm went off by accident, or maybe someone is trying to break into an apartment. We also respond to calls which are about enforcing public order in Kiev.
Група реагування у нас.
The fast response team consists of at least 3 officers. They have an automatic weapon as well as riot gear. The fast response team usually arrives on the scene within 3 minutes after receiving a distress call. They can also pursue the offenders.
Спецзасоби, що дає ефективне відпрацювання та боротьбу із злочинністю в місті Київ. Група реагування ефективно відпрацьовують, до 3 хвилин прибувають на місце злочину та по гарячим слідам затримують.
The security unit actively cooperates with the national branch. Since the police reform launched more than 2 years ago, the main aim has remained the same. It's to convince Ukraine's citizens that the new force is truly committed to serving the public and not prioritizing regime protection.
Квартирні крадії, грабіжники, гопники, так називаємо. Цепочки з людей сривають. Ми теж на ці виклики реагуємо. Реагуємо на сигнали тривоги з квартир та об'єктів.
There are different criminals such as thieves, robbers, and muggers. We respond to every call we get. Many of the objects which are under our protection have alarm buttons.
Якщо щось відбувається, щоб людина могла викликати на швидку. Так швидше виходить. Натиснути на кнопку і знають, що приїде наряд поліції.
The police tend to respond to a call via the alarm button quicker than a phone call. In any case, the priority is the people. They must know that they are being protected.
Потрібна служба. Щоб люди знали, що їх охороняють, так сказати.
In the first few decades of Ukraine's independence, the Donetsk and Luhansk regions experienced the highest number of criminal activity than the rest of the country. In 1991, the year Ukraine declared its independence, the number of crimes in Donetsk increased by almost 50%. There were many cases of drive-by shootings and robberies. In order to protect valuable state assets, a specialized crime-fighting unit was created. Their main goal was to secure financial institutions, large enterprises, and protect influential individuals. The unit was dubbed Titan. Its fighters had to undergo intense training and grueling daily physical exercises. This includes hand-to-hand combat, fire extinguishing skills, firearm training, as well as advanced driving exercises. Our security structure is engaged in physical security, protection of critical objects, as well as escorting valuable cargoes. One of the main requirements for this job include a great physical shape, and a higher education is seen as a plus. Working in a police security unit requires a lot of risk-taking. Our fighters have daily training exercises in the gym and at the shooting range. We also provide our officers with psychologist sessions if they're needed. We believe this is a very important service, and in some cases it's crucial for our guys. I think this is great for them, and it helps them carry out tasks given to them by the Ministry of Internal Affairs and the National Police. Ukraine's police force recorded a rise in the number of crimes over the past 2 years. In the first 6 months of 2016, over 12,000 major crimes were reported. This is a large increase compared to the overall number in 2013, which was at around 13,800. A large portion of the crimes were investigated by the Titan security unit. The Special Police Brigade is usually called in during dangerous operations. The most dangerous part of our work is that we can get killed while on assignments. The job comes with a certain risk. There are attacks on facilities which we have to keep secure. Valuable cargo as well as individuals we need to keep safe and protected. Our officers are also on the receiving end during one of these attacks. The police security unit is constantly updating its training techniques and developing the officers' main skills. First of all, just like with any other job, there's a requirement to improve your skills and improve yourself.
є такої научної літератури, багато є в інтернеті.
Nowadays, there are many online publications and sources which can be used for this purpose. We're also communicating with other security structures in the country and even in Europe in order to share our experiences.
Обмінюються досвідом.
One of the main tasks of the unit is to provide protection for high-profile officials as well as visiting dignitaries. In other words, their main job description includes working as a bodyguard. Personal security officers protect individuals from such threats as assault, kidnapping, and stalking.
Не каждый может там прийти и стать телохранителем, да, потому что
Not everyone can become a bodyguard. You have to understand that you are responsible for someone's life and that you have to save their life no matter what. It doesn't matter what happens to you, their life is your main priority. This is not for everyone because most people are not able to risk their own lives. We have to do our job no matter how difficult it may be.
Не каждый сможет, например, рискнуть.
Bodyguards are constantly required to improve themselves both physically as well as mentally. This job requires you to be on top of everything. A bodyguard needs to carry out a large number of tasks. This is all part of the job. A bodyguard can't be just picked off the street. They need to undergo special training in Rivne and Vinica. Then there are special trainings and a course. After that, everyone should improve themselves. Bodyguards need to go to the gym, the shooting range, and they need to continue their learning process. In order to be a good bodyguard, you need to work on yourself. It is considered the high-caliber profession. Bodyguards are able to make good, snap decisions in life-threatening situations, and they're able to take responsibility for their actions. This is one of the most important parts of their job, to do everything in their power in order to protect the client.
В этой работе, да? Никто ж не застрахован ни от чего, все может быть. Нужно эту работу, во-первых, любить. Так у меня сложилось.
There's always a risk in this job. Pretty much anything can happen. But you have to love this job. That's how I became involved in this job. I used to watch different movies and always liked the parts of the military training.
Огневой подготовки, да, там, со стрельбой, там, нравится мне там вообще, ну, вообще.
Also, I've always been working out and doing sports. This is part of my soul. Being a bodyguard is part of me. It just is. There are a number of key objectives about this job. Bodyguards have a responsibility to secure administrative buildings, valuables, property, and most importantly, protect a person's life. The police security unit plays a very important role in the whole structure of Ukraine's national police. After all, it's a universal unit which can keep a number of objects safe, as well as people. The Ukrainian servicemen featured in this program all have one common trait: to protect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. These are the same young men and women who are risking their lives every day while protecting Europe's eastern border.